Yo, what up, man? It's the one and only Smooth Vega, and as you can see, by all means, we are pushing forward with more content for you. Please subscribe and donate to keep the platform moving. Even $1 can help us keep producing more content. NothingBeatsExperience.com. Make sure to donate. The link is in the description. It's also pinned to the top of the comments. I hope you enjoy the show. You already know Nothing Beats Experience. Let's go. Come on. Hey, yo, man, what it is, man, it's the one and only, and we're back. So excited, man. Crooks Corner has decided to pull up to Nothing Beats Experience, the quarantine edition. I'm joined by none other than my man, one of the greatest rappers that I know to ever live, to ever touch the mic, the one and only King Crooked, man. How you living, bro?
What up, bro? How you doing, man? I'm chilling, man. I got no other choice but to chill. Feel me? We quarantining over here, man. You know what I mean? Everything is good, though. How you doing?
Man, doing good, man. How have you been adapting to this new normal? How's the family been and everything?
Hey, man, it's been cool. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely an adjustment. You know what I mean? And we just calling audibles over here. You know, like. I want to see people safe and healthy. I don't want to contribute to the spread of the virus. So, you know, I might be asymptomatic and not even know I got it and out and about treating it like it's nothing. And it really is, it's serious, you know. So we just been chilling, man. We've been in the crib, you know what I'm saying? I've been going out when necessary, and that's it. And, you know, ordering a whole lot of Amazon Prime, you know what I mean? And
I know exactly what you mean.
Groceries and DoorDash and disinfecting bags and boxes on the porch, and you know what I mean? Just taking it serious and just hoping that everybody stay healthy out there, basically, though.
Well, man, you know, I want to start off by saying that I'm extremely proud of you, man. I texted you recently whenever the Eminem interview dropped on Crooks Corner, man. I thought that was a real piece of art, man, and I've really seen you come into your own with your platform, man. I think that your platform is going to continue to grow. Obviously, you talk about calling audibles. Is there any plans right now to take it to more of a virtual format for the foreseeable future?
Yes, sir, man, and thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, we going virtual. You know, everybody is doing it. You know, you look on ESPN, you look on different talk shows, different rap media programs. You know, everybody's virtual, so I got to jump in that game. I got to jump on that block. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to make sure that I continue to bring a certain quality to the table. I feel like, you know, no matter if I got the biggest show or the smallest show, I just want to be in that quality conversation. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that I'm always in that quality convo. So, you know, we're going to go virtual. We have some guests lined up. We're going to keep the season rocking, you know. It's crazy because I ended the season with Royce da 5'9", the first season. I started the second season with Eminem. Next episode after that was Rakim.
Yeah.
So, you know, we on the roll, and then, you know, the coronavirus hit, and it kind of did make a shift, you know. So now we about to gather ourselves, get everything together, and jump into the virtual side of things, man, and keep the season rolling. Season 2, Crooks Corner. Y'all make sure y'all watch that, you know.
You want me to kind of like, I want to give you insight on something. It's really interesting because I feel that you like to your point, you're saying like you had M, you had Rakim. By the way, I thought the Rakim interview was, I love the M interview, but I really love the Rakim interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you just don't get as much Rakim interviews like that. Mm-hmm. So it was a really dope conversation. But you had a lot of plans lined up, and it's crazy because it's the same thing with me. You know, like I just started my platform up. We had all these big plans. We had all these big guests lined up, and then this happened. So we had to call the audible. We decided to go digital, and you know, for me, because it's a new platform, it was like you know, it was a little tough. It's a little frustrating. We had some sponsors that were ready to get involved, and it just like halted everything. But here we are, man. You know what I mean? Like. We just got to adapt. We got to give people this, you know, we got to keep on feeding people content. I think right now with what's going on in the world, it's really important to keep providing people with entertainment, to provide people with content. I think right now is a good time to produce content. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with that. I think it's, you know, I know you.
You hit me up, remember? You know what I'm saying? It's so crazy because me and my director, Herb, you know what I'm saying? We were talking about, you know, doing it digitally and doing virtual episodes. And that same day you hit me like, yo, what's going on? What you gonna do, man? You know what I'm saying? You were like, I think you ought to go virtual. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's a must, man. We had a lot of things lined up too. I mean, I had different platforms knocking on my door. You know what I mean? As far as taking it off of YouTube and putting it on different network platforms. You know what I'm saying? And that still can be done. But now it's obviously going to be done down the line. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of production has been, stopped and halted in the game right now. It's just like calling an audible. I can't even explain it even better than that. There's no way for me to explain it better than we calling an audible. All right, cool. We reading the defense, coronavirus. They giving us. I see the corners and I see all that, and I say, okay. I get under there, the center, and say, yo, we finna. What my man used to say, oh, Omaha, my guy.
Well, the reason I hit you up is because I love what you're doing. I love the product that you're producing right now. I think it's great. And we'll touch on kind of how Crooks Corner all came about as far as the actual show. Like, what actually led for you to kind of transition into doing this? Because something that one of my partners out here always talk about is like, in I'm not implying that you're done making music, but part of like the post making music career, like for the longest, like artists didn't have what like athletes have. When an athlete retires from being an active player, they go into commentating, and then they go on, and some of these guys become some of the greatest analysts in the game. You have someone like Tony Romo, which obviously I'm being biased because he's from the hometown over here. He's on CBS now, and he's crushing it, and he's able to articulate on the game a lot different than someone that's never, picked up, the sport. Just like someone like yourself can articulate on, the craft and talk about the music in a way that like a journalist wouldn't be able to do it. What I mean? They can't do it. So it's like, what led for you to do it? What led for you to want to get into doing Crooks Corner? And, where do you forecast this going for yourself in terms of like your platform?
Man, just, I had COB radio, and like, I can't even remember what year that was, dog. I had already seen where the game was going, and I had already had a feeling that I wanted to express my love for the culture in more than just going in the booth, in more ways than just going in the booth, in more ways than just stepping on stage and rapping in front of a crowd. I wanted to express my love for the culture in ways that sitting down, talking to some of the greatest rappers of all time, giving the viewers jewels and gems that they could use in their real lives, and, giving up and coming artists advice, and having people that got knowledge to spread, and talking to them and just having these conversations. So I started COB radio a long time ago. A lot of people, they felt like, when Crooks Corner came, they felt like I was trying to jump on a wave of, rappers going into, podcasting. Obviously, the comparisons to Joe Budden, since we were in the group Slaughterhouse together, you know what I'm saying, came across my desk a lot. But a lot of people, they just didn't know that I had already had COB radio like 2013, you know what I'm saying, 14 with DJ Ski. And, I was interviewing people like OT Genesis before he even was with Busta Rhymes and had Coco. You know what I mean? I was interviewing Hobson. I was interviewing all these different people, and we were talking rap. So, I've been on this, and Crooks Corner is just, it was just time to get back on that mission again. You know what I mean? I wanted to talk about what I love, and do it with the people who love the culture, who love hip hop like I love hip hop. I got tired of getting on my Twitter and just seeing, all this random talk about what people have for lunch, and that's fine. If that's what you do, that's how you get down. But I'm a hip hop culturist. You know what I'm saying? I'm for the culture, and I wanted to make that I wanted to make that clear. I wanted to put a megaphone on that. You know what I'm saying? And say, yo, this is what I do. I do this. I talk hip hop. I live hip hop. I breathe hip hop. You know what I mean? I'm not just an MC. I'm everything that hip hop is. So I just jumped on Twitter basically, man, to start asking daily rap questions. And when I would ask these daily rap questions, man, the conversation grew. And next thing you know, thousands of people were answering these questions, and people like Double XL Magazine will hit me up like, yo, can you run our Twitter? You know what I'm saying? And I started tweeting from their account, you know what I mean, and getting engagement and changing the way that Double XL's Twitter, changing the behavior of that profile, you know, of that Twitter account, you know what I mean? And now that I don't do it, they still using my formula over there, which is cool. I ain't tripping Double XL, but y'all know y'all using my formula. You come down my timeline using my formula. All good. Long story short is, you know, I just wanted to talk to the people about rap, man. And then it went from Twitter to my IG Live and to, you know, what you see now. It just evolved.
You know, it's really interesting to me because my path is a little different. And here's a funny thing that I don't think I've ever shared with you is actually, I was really reluctant to do interviews. Like that was not in my career path. That wasn't something that I intended to do. But I remember, you know, attempting to do this platform in 2016. We had already interviewed Ritz. We had interviewed Royce. We had interviewed Joyner. We had interviewed a handful of guys.
Right.
To my channel, but I wasn't the personality. I wanted to act more as a producer and kind of be behind the scenes because I wasn't comfortable. The very first interview that I ever conducted with anybody was with you, and that's and I like everybody saw the interview.
Remember that?
Yeah, everybody saw the interview, and everybody's like, "Hey, you're actually pretty good at this." And mind you, to this day, I don't ever rehearse what I'm talking about because the thing about interviewing, and I want to kind of dig into that, in my opinion, and I want to get your perspective on this. I don't know how well you prepare in terms of like what you're going to ask and what direction you're going to angle the interview. There's an art to it, in my opinion. But I think above all, people that enjoy what we do or enjoy what you do or enjoy what I do up to this point, right? Because I don't have as big of a platform as you do or as big of a platform as Joe or whatever is, people want to get into the conversation, right? It needs to become more conversational. So I don't go in with man, this is what I want to talk about with Crook, or this is what I want to do. In that interview that I did with you, the very first one, it was a freestyle. But I turned around, you know, I ended up getting into doing the audio podcast. You got on the audio podcast, we did that, and I had a handful of guests, and then obviously where we're at now. But I started finding myself realizing like, man, I'm pretty good at this. You know, I'm pretty good at this. I know that I'm better than most in terms of like how I deliver. And I'm not saying that in an arrogant way. I watch other interviews and I love what everybody's doing. I love what Nori's doing. I love what Joe's doing. I love what Tyler Pauli's doing. These guys are all, you know, I love what you're doing, obviously. I'm a fan of you guys as artists, but it's crazy to kind of see that. I kind of want to know, are you, because you're an MC at heart, you know what I'm saying? That's how you started, that's how you got in, and you were competitive as an MC. Are you competitive as a media personality where you're like, yo, man, I saw a homie's interview with M. They ain't going to do the M interview the way I'm going to do the M interview.
Right.
I'm going to smash it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think that's in everybody, a little good-natured. And if y'all hear the dog barking, you know, that's Lulu, man. We have to, you know, we quarantining, you feel me? But yeah, I mean, I think we all got a little bit of competitive spirit in us and stuff like that. But I mean, a lot of the rap media guys, they do what they do. You know what I mean? Like they have their own lanes, and that's dope. You know, I feel like my lane is a little different because I'm not looking for clickbait. I'm not looking for someone to say something super controversial that's going to get 1 million views and go viral. I'm not looking to pull beef out of anybody, pull negative situations out of anybody during the conversation. I'm not looking to score the kind of points that some of our counterparts are trying to score when they're conducting an interview. Me personally, I'm here to talk rap. Like we're in the barbershop, like we're on the block. I'm here to talk rap. I'm here to talk about what makes an elite MC, what makes a Jedi MC, what makes a dope performer, who's your top 5, what's the first song you ever memorized, what made you fall in love with hip-hop, how much does hip-hop culture mean to you. I'm here to talk rap, hip-hop, you know what I'm saying? And then give jewels to the up-and-coming guys in the game and to people, period, you know, and trying to make sure that my guests get the respect they deserve and they feel good and they feel comfortable. They know I'm not going to hit them with no trick questions. They know I'm not going to hit them with no gotcha questions just for views. I don't need that. You see what I'm saying? Like, money is cool, you know, but I'm more about legacy and impact. I'm not tripping on that. So I'm able to move a little different. That's why I had to do it, you know, independently, because a lot of platforms that wanted me, they wanted more that they could use as clickbait. They wanted more of that in the interviews. They wanted to spin my guest words and make it seem like my guest says something super controversial so people will click. You live by the click, you die by the click. I'm just out here loving hip hop, talking to the people who love it and giving it to the people in the culture. That's it. So everybody else, when they doing their thing, that's fine. But you know, when you go to Crook's Corner, you get in the culture and you get in the elevated rap conversation, period.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes your platform unique, and it makes it different, you know, in terms of like you're actually digging. And I think for me, with this platform in specific, I like to do a little bit of that. I also like to do stuff on the entertainment level. I don't necessarily care for the clickbait as much as I care about giving the jewels that you mentioned, that, you know, jewelry time, as you like to call it. You know what I'm saying? We're like,
it's jewelry time.
you know, I want to give people the information that they might not be able to attain from reading a book, because it's something. It's for whatever reason it resonates different when people hear it from someone that they admire, or someone that they're seeing in real time, rather than a friend that might give them the same piece of advice. You know what I'm saying? So I like to kind of dig into that. But let's talk rap now, because you that's what you do. You talk about falling in love with music, or, you know, that's something that you'd like to touch on. How did you fall in love with music? What was your first memory of hip hop music?
My mom, man, my mom was playing Rapper's Delight. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever went over a friend's house to eat and the food was just no good? You know what I'm saying? And I was listening to that, you know what I mean? When she was playing that around the house, I was probably like 4 or 5 years old, but I could remember that, you know, and she was deep into music. She was a singer herself. So, you know, she would play as hip hop started booming, she would play it around the house. And then when we got old enough to buy and purchase our own shit, we started purchasing our own, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, rap from the message, you know, I think I did a talent show as a kid. You know, when I was probably 5, 6 years old, they put me up there and I performed the message. You know what I'm saying? Melly Mels and they hold the whole shit. You feel me? So it's been in me since that age, since 5, 6. My first time in a professional studio, I was 8 years old. You know what I mean? My mom and her twin sister, Charlene, my auntie, rest in peace. They put me in a studio. I was 8 years old. I did a song called Controller. And it was called, you know, it was because I called myself the microphone controller. You know what I'm saying? And I was 8, man. That was the first time I recorded a demo song, you know, and it's just always been in me. I feel like I was put on this earth to be an MC. I don't feel like I was put on this earth to be some kind of street nigga, be some kind of, you know, somebody that, a doctor or a lawyer. You know what I mean? I feel like things happen in life where you might be on the streets doing things, but even in those times, I knew I was always meant to be an MC. You know what I'm saying? And I just fell in love with the culture, rapping, scratching, DJing, doing graffiti. You know what I'm saying? Beatboxing, anything that had to do with hip hop culture, I was all in 100%.
So as a kid, who were your rap heroes? You know, for me, my first memory of rap, well, you know, because I grew up very traditionally Mexican. So, you know, right. I was exposed to Mexican music before I was ever exposed to hip hop. So, you know, when I started listening to the radio, you know, I think it was around the time Vanilla Ice was hitting, MC Hammer was hitting. And then I think there was a song called I'm a Dope Fiend. And then Brenda's Got a Baby by Tupac was the first song that I really remember liking. And I didn't even know that it was a message at the time. I just remember liking the track as a kid. And that was kind of my introduction to rap altogether. Mm-hmm. So
that's a great introduction right there. That's the GOAT, Tupac. You know what I'm saying?
I see him right behind you, man. That's on my playlist every day, man. I listen to Tupac, man. So Tupac, and then from there it transitioned to Dre, Eazy-E, Snoop Dogg, and then anything associated to those guys. So Bone Thugs and Harmony, coming out of Easy E, you know what I'm saying? You had, just anything associated to Dre, Snoop. So I was really having
that family tree.
I didn't even realize it because I was so young. I didn't know all the inner workings at the time because I was a kid.
Right.
I'm like 6, 7, 8 years old.
Right.
That was my introduction to hip hop, West Coast hip hop. I was a huge fan of that. My older brother actually liked Ghetto Boys. So Ghetto Boys, his thing, and then Ghetto Boys so that was my thing. So those were my rap heroes: Scarface, Tupac, Dre, Snoop, Easy, and Bone Thugs and Harmony is who I consider my rap heroes growing up at that age. So
right.
Who do you consider your rap heroes?
Oh man, Ice Cube, NWA, like you said, Dr. Dre, Easy, DOC, his wordplay was just phenomenal at the time when he was doing his thing at his peak. Rakim, Cool G Rap, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, when he dropped Ain't No Half Stepping and just kept the rhyme flowing, you know what I mean? Public Enemy, Beastie Boys, LL Cool J, even people that people might not really be hip to, like Antoinette. She was a female MC back in the day. Well, just an MC who happens to be female. I don't really like to rock with the female MC, but she's just an MC. And, Antoinette was hard. She was compared to like the female Rakim, they would say, you know what I'm saying? Because her bars was just crazy. Queen Latifah, the Juice Crew, let's talk about Ghetto Boys. Let's go to the South with it. You know what I mean? Scarface, his first solo, Mr. Scarface, walking down the block. You know what I'm saying? Like all the Scarface albums, we got Gangsta Nip. You feel me? You got Suave House, 8-Ball MJG, Mr. Mike. Mr. Mike dropped an album called Wicked Ways in the 90s, man. Mr. Mike from Texas. It's one of the greatest Southern rap albums in existence ever. It's called Wicked Ways. If you ever get a chance to listen to Mr. Mike Wicked Ways, during that time, gangster rap was really on top. And this dude was gangster, but he had syllable flow and lyrical patterns that a lot of people wasn't touching on at that moment. So he was a complex gangster lyricist, man, Mr. Mike. Dope, 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 man. And then you go to Miami, MC Shy D, you talking about Uncle Luke, 2 Live Crew, Poison Clan, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could talk hip-hop and that forever because I just soaked it up like a sponge, man. It was, all of them was my heroes, man. So in essence, hip-hop is my hero.
So I would say this, as a kid, you were growing up, where were you growing up in California, right? You were in
California.
Beach. Okay, so you were in Long Beach growing up. How were you exposed to East Coast hip hop? Because for me, being in the South, I was only really exposed to West Coast hip hop. So what I would say, I remember, like I said, Dre, Snoop. It went from that to Eazy-E, MC8. Anything like in that Spice One, Too Short. Too Short was one of my favorite rappers growing up.
Yeah.
The Ghetto Boys, like I mentioned, in the South. And then, you mentioned 2 Live Crew. I remember a little bit about them because they were so controversial at the time, but it was only like, maybe it's because, I didn't have someone that really knew much about hip hop in terms of like my older brother was learning with me. So I was learning from him because I wanted to be like him, right?
Right,
so,
right.
He likes Ghetto Boys. Okay, that's what I like, right?
Right.
I was only exposed to the West Coast hip hop. I didn't know that there was even East Coast hip hop till
right.
Nas was the first exposure that I had to East Coast hip hop, and at that point, you already had a group of people. You had already had Rakim, LL Cool J. Obviously, I learned about them later. But
right.
You learned at that age, like there was another coast or any of that.
Man, I got lucky, my brother. Being in Long Beach, we moved around a lot. My mom, my older brother, if he get in some sort of trouble, we move out the neighborhood before he get killed, you know what I'm saying? And move to another neighborhood. Or if he, and then when I became of age, if I got in any kind of trouble, conflicts, beefs, or shit like that, my mom always tried to protect us by moving us around, you know what I'm saying? But so I moved around Cali a lot. And I met a kid named Rolando from Brooklyn when I was a kid. And Rolando moved to Cali. but he would have his cousins send him tapes, cassette tapes of, all of the radio station when they did the mega mixes and all that type of shit. And when the DJs would do mixtapes, they would send them to Rolando, and we go sit in Rolando house and bump all the East Coast shit. You know what I'm saying? Where we didn't even know was like, damn, you hear that? Rakim, check out my melody. Who is this Rakim dude? He crazy with it. Houdini, all this. And then, we would put Rolando up on the West Coast music, you know what I'm saying? And bump the West Coast music for Rolando. So the homie was like giving us and we was giving him, you know what I mean? And it was just a dope time because to be hip hop in that era, in the late 80s and the 90s and on through the 90s, to be hip hop in that era meant something. A little more than it means now to me. You know what I mean? Right now, I feel like since it became such a corporate thing and so much money came into play, it kind of took away from the culture aspect of it and we're hip hop. We don't do this, that, and that. You know what I mean? Because what we represent is knowledge of self. We represent community. We represent the culture. We represent the art form. All these things just kind of dwindled away as more and more money and power came into the game. So being able to flash back to those times, man, and to be a part of that time, I'm very grateful, man. I'm very grateful. But to answer your original question, it was always people like Rolando and other people that I met in my travels that actually put me up on East Coast hip hop. And then when I was 16, I had to move. When I was like 15 and a half, I moved to the East Coast for like a year. I was in Pennsylvania because I had got into some shit out here in Cali, and they was like, okay, this is the only way to save your life. You need to get up out of here. So I got up out of there, just being a knucklehead in the streets. So when I went to the East and I seen how people was meeting at the basketball courts and battle rapping each other, you know what I'm saying? I jumped off the benches too and let's get it, you know what I mean? So that kind of affected my style and my ear. It got more aggressive that year, my style did, you know what I mean? Because people were saying, oh, you West Coast dudes can't rap. Y'all just tell slow ass stories. Y'all tell story raps with that slow flow. Y'all know nothing about this, that, and the other. So I had to sharpen my tools every night. Because when I get back to the basketball court, I got to lay something down. You know what I'm saying? So all those experiences really molded me into who I am, and traveling around exposed me to different types of music.
At what age would you say, like, I knew how to rap? Like you just felt like, okay, I'm good at this? Because I think that it's difficult as an artist for you to like get to that point because you obviously you look back when you're 18, 19, 20, like, man, I thought I was good then. I don't know then what I know now, but there had to be that turning point where you're like, man, I know I can do this. You know what I'm saying? How old were you?
I don't know, man. I think it was probably mid-20s, mid-20s. And then when I got, in my 30s, I started to realize, like you said, like, wow, there's so much more we could do with this art form, than what I was doing previously. But I think in my mid-20s, I was very lucky, man. I didn't know how lucky I was, but what it was they say when opportunity, meets preparation, that's good luck. You feel me? So I really prepared, Vega. I really prepared, dog. Like I wrote raps all day, all night. I performed in my mom's bathroom mirror all day, all night. I listened to all the greats over and over and over. I studied everybody from every region, every city, every place that was hip hop I was there mentally right there with them. And I put in those hours. They say you got to put in 10,000 hours. I put in 20,000 hours. You feel me? So once I got, into my early 20s, I knew what I could do. I was confident. I jumped in a cypher when I was 19. I jumped in a cypher with Snoop, Corrupt, rest in peace, Nate Dogg was there. You know what I mean? Different people from the Dog Pound. Dog Pound was just, they was starting to conquer the game. I was a young kid, East Side, Long Beach, don't have nothing, eating top ramen noodles every day. You know what I'm saying? walk into my destination, not enough to even get on the bus or a train. I jumped in that cypher and I took heads off, you feel me? Because I was hungry, I was prepared. And as Snoop left that cypher, he said, yo, he talking to my homie Big C Style, he said, hey, you need to do something with that kid, Crooked. You better do something. You want to be in the game, you want to be a manager, you want to get in the game, go sign Crooked Eye. You know what I'm saying? And C-Style came back to me and told me that's what Snoop said. I had no clue. All I knew was I was hungry, I was ready, I was prepared. I put in all the work I needed to put in. So to answer your question, man, I think from 19 to my early 20s, I know how to put words together and express myself, you know, because I had put in all the fucking work, dog. It's kind of like being a rookie straight out, going from high school to the league. You know what I'm saying? It's like really, it's like that. But I was blessed because I see people who put in a lot of work and not get their shot until they're 35 or not ever get their shot. You feel me? So I was blessed.
So how old were you whenever Suge, you know, came knocking, whenever he came in and recruited you and, you know, y'all started the new Death Row? How old were you actually at that point?
I think I was 20, man.
Woo!
You know what I'm saying?
Young gunning.
Yeah.
How did the conversation happen whenever, you know, he first initiated contact with you, like, hey man, you're dope. You know, I want to relaunch this iconic label with you being one of the flagship artists, you know, like
I mean, you know, I was going over there, like I said, dog, I was blessed, bro. I was going over there with the homies before I signed to Death Row. I was able to be in sessions, you know what I'm saying? And I just thought I was tagging along with the homies and you know, yeah, whatever, you know, we finna go to a Snoop session, you know, Snoop the homie, let's go. And we just go into a session. But what I was really doing was I was learning and I was given access that not everybody is given. So again, blessed, you know what I'm saying? And sitting in the studio with Tupac, sitting in the studio with Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, Warren G, Lady of Rage, you know what I'm saying? And watching them, even as I go back to my one bedroom shack, I still get to take those memories with me. I still get to take that experience with me, and it motivates and gives me fuel. So I was around that Death Row shit already before I had a deal, you know what I mean? And then when the opportunity came, Suge was locked up at the time. He was doing time for the Las Vegas incident. So, you know, he spent 6 years in the pen. He was up in Mule Creek in Ione, California. It's right outside of Sacramento. I had to go fly up there and go talk to him, you know. A lot of stuff happened in between me and Suge sitting down, but the short story of it all is I sat down with him at the penitentiary because at this point in his incarceration, he had contact visits, so it wasn't no more, you know, glass window or nothing like that. He could actually sit at a table with people, you know, and talk and shake hands and things of that nature. So we talked, you know what I mean? And he was just like, yo, you know, what you want to do? He was like, I heard you got, I used to do a lot of radio drops for the DJs. So since I didn't have a record deal, one of the clever ways to get on radio was to do a freestyle drop introducing the show of whoever is about to, you know, go on. You feel me? So that was how we used to cleverly get on the radio. And then, you know, we'll go have some meetings and, you know, it'd be like, we got the intros coming on at 7:00 on Lala show. Cause like Lala had a show out here on 92.3 The Beat. So if the intro that I did, recorded 16 bars, was coming on at 7:00, I set up a business meeting with a potential label or manager at 6:45. And then at 15 minutes in the meeting, I'd be like, well, hold on, man, and turn the radio on, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like, oh shit, you on the radio? You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. So I guess Michelle A. heard one of my musical, you know, intros that I did for Lala, and she told Suge, like, yo, this dude is crazy. Suge called Daz, and Daz was like, oh yeah, that's the homie, man. So, you know, hooked it up, sat with him, and, you know, he just wanted to rebuild, man, and it was some big shoes to fill, you know what I mean? And you know, he gave me 2 Death Row chains and a big check, and it was on.
So would you say that time in your career was that was like your your period of like really learning, you know, whenever you were with Suge, because at that time, you know, you're on death row. I think y'all even did like a late night show appearance. He had you on national TV. I forgot what show it was, but I remember that vaguely. You were on the cover of the Double XL magazine. I think that was the first time you were on the cover alongside Left Eye and the new roster. I forgot who else was on the cover. I think it was Suge, you, Left Eye, and who else was on the cover on the first
Corrupt and Eastwood.
There you go, Corrupt and Eastwood. And then you're doing the music videos with Murder Inc. at the time. I think you were on the Ashanti single, the remix to Baby, right?
Yes, sir.
And so now you're getting the push.
Mm-hmm.
That rub, he's putting you over now, and at that point, it's like, all right, you know, this is finally really moving for you. You went from this, you know, young kid that, like you said, scrapping up the money to get on the bus, and you found a way to get into the Cyphers. Now you're on national TV, and you know, once all this passes, did you look at this experience as like that was my how would I call it? That was my tuition. That was what the price I paid to learn what I learned that I later applied in the game. You know?
Yeah,
like you're schooling pretty much. You're schooling it.
Yeah, that was the. I went to Death Row University and got my degree. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we did Jimmy Kimmel. You know what I mean? I was there. I did a freestyle. I did some other things on Jimmy Kimmel, and that's the infamous night that Suge said something about an AIDS needle, and everybody, you know, everybody still plays that clip from the Jimmy Kimmel show where he said something about having AIDS and a needle and sticking people. But you know, it was a real experience for me. I had billboards all over LA, billboards in Beverly Hills, you know. I had a monster truck with my album artwork on it, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, double XL cover, you know what I mean? Source interviews. You know, it was really great. Went to New York, bumped my first single, you know, So Damn Hood on the Angie Martinez show. I went from moving around, you know, locally to moving around globally, you know what I mean? And had it not been for the fact that a lot of people in the industry did not want to see Suge Knight successful again, we probably would have had another run. You know, we probably Death Row would have had another run, but a lot of people did not want to see Suge Knight in a power position again in the industry once he got out of the penitentiary. You know what I mean? So they did their best to try to handcuff him, you know, but you know, it was still an experience. He was a real cool executive CEO. A lot of executives can learn from Suge. You know what I'm saying? Like they hear all this bad stuff about Suge, but let me tell you something. Some of these artists will tell you they can't even pick up the phone and call the CEO of their label whenever they want to. You could always hit Suge on the hip. Some of these artists will tell you they get their advance and say they run out of money because it's taking a long time to do the project and they need a couple more bucks or whatever for overhead while they're recording the project. A lot of labels will tell you, we don't give a fuck if you ran out of money. Give us that project that you wrote down on this piece of paper, your signature you wrote. We need that project. You could call Suge and be like, look, it's taking longer than I thought for the project. You know what I'm saying? I need another advance. All right, cool. Meet me up at the crib, man. I'll write you a check. You feel me? Like his accessibility to the artist was on another level. He was also, you know what I mean, always accessible when you needed to talk to him, when you needed advice. And he took me to a lot of meetings as a young dude, 20 years old, going into these meetings with Leor Cohen, Russell Simmons, all these different executives. My music IQ went up, you know what I'm saying? Because now I'm soaking up game. He let me sit in the room and while he handled his business, and I learned from that. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good learning experience. There were some bad things that happened. It was Death Row Records. Of course, some shit went down. You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side of that, it was some good experiences, and I learned a whole lot, man. And I feel like it made me a better business person when it comes to dealing with this music shit.
But going into the Death Row situation, were you already recording music? Were you already like, you know, out there grinding, or was that your introduction to everything? Were you performing prior? Were you hitting the underground, like as I like to call it, like the bar circuit, where you're just open micing wherever you can get the mic at, wherever you can perform at, wherever you can get your feet wet at, you're doing it. Were you already doing that before?
Yeah, I was definitely doing that. Definitely. I had a deal before Death Row. It was a real short. I had 2 short deals. I had an independent deal with Muscle Records. Muscle Records was a Long Beach owned company, and it was owned by 2 football players from Long Beach from the East Side who went to the NFL. So they invested their money into an independent label called Muscle Records, which stood for Chucky Miller, and Russell. Muscle, you know what I mean? Leonard Russell, he played in the NFL. Chucky Miller played in the NFL, and they were 2 Long Beach natives. And they came together and they made a record label, and they signed me. I was about 17, 18 at the time. So I got my feet a little wet. They built a studio on the east side of Long Beach. I had full access to it. I could go in and record whenever I want to. We hit a lot of different talent shows. And then, we went our separate ways. They started doing other businesses, and I ended up getting with Big C Style, and Big C Style was working on a compilation called the 19th Street compilation with the Low Life Gangsters, which was a group who was led by Badass, rest in peace, who recently passed away, Badass, the rapper, who was my homie as well. But they were doing a compilation, and, they came after I did that cypher. C-Style seen me and my brother Dice walking down Atlantic Avenue on the east side of Long Beach and pulled up, skirt, hey, we doing a brand new compilation, man. We need you on this compilation. So I'm like, all right, cool. So there's like, can you do it now? I jumped straight in the car with him right there. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't give a fuck where I'm going, because Big C-Style is one of the founders of the Dog Pound. He's one of the original members. He's the guy who used to push Snoop out on stage with the perm while Snoop was doing Murder Was the Case on that super famous live performance that Snoop did, where he's getting pushed in a wheelchair and all this other stuff. And, Styles' face turns into the dog on the famous Dog, What's My Name video. So he's one of the founders of the Dog Pound. A matter of fact, I believe that he's the one who named it the Dog Pound. So, he's a very influential guy, and, he's a street dude from Long Beach. Everybody know who he was. So when he pulled up on me and said, hey, can you get on this compilation? I'm like, yeah, let's get on it. So we went over there to the studio. I rapped on 10 songs. The compilation was almost done. And I was like, all right, so where y'all want me to rap at? And they were like, you can rap on whatever you want to, based on Snoop telling Big Style, you need to fuck with Crook. Feel me? So that made Big Style say, all right, you can rap on whatever you want to. I went in there, man, and I rapped on 10 songs. I was doing such aggressive lyrical flow that a lot of my homies at the lab, they didn't really get it all the way, because they were used to that slow gangster shit. And I was using these big words and multi-syllable rhyme schemes and all that kind of shit. So a lot of motherfuckers was like, man, I know it sound hard. What is you talking about? Type of shit. And then this story is long, but Virgin Records walked into the building, and they were like, yo, we're interested in this compilation. We heard you got Snoop Dogg on this compilation. Snoop was the hottest thing out. And when he pushed play on that compilation, Virgin pulled him to the side and said, hey, man, we really love the music, but who is this Crooked Eye guy? He's phenomenal. And that's what I got my first deal at Virgin Records. That was like about a year before I was on Death Row. And then Virgin just like, got rid of the whole fucking rap urban department. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So once they did that, I was back on the streets again.
But would you say that, like, this is kind of a rhetorical question because we know the answer, but just for the sake of entertainment value, right? You have your time in Death Row and then coming out of Death Row. Do you feel the association was detrimental to your growth in terms of like that stigma following you? Like, yeah. We can't touch Crook, that's Suge's boy. And did that ultimately lead to because I remember when I first met you, there was a rift between you and Snoop for a while, where you guys weren't, you guys were both from Long Beach. He's the triple OG, but you're the new guy that's really coming in and everybody's talking about. And he wasn't as embracive publicly or in general there for a long period of time. Right. I saw you interview him recently, so I thought that was really dope because I remember those days. But
Right.
was it attributed to your association with Death Row and Suge at the time
Yeah.
that kind of led for that? Like, not only is he the new hot shot from the city, right?
Yeah.
The heir to the throne in Long Beach, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? But now he's riding with
We should.
people. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, and that was the whole thing. My whole thing was, listen, some people work at Burger King, some people work at McDonald's. You know what I mean? Everybody, Snoop did a lot for the city, but everybody and their mama was trying to be signed to Snoop Dogg. Everybody was, trying to eat off the Snoop Dogg plate. You know what I mean? And I just felt like that's not reality. How can, as big as he was, how can he put on 50 dudes? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not going to happen. So I just decided to take my own pathway. You know what I mean? And you're right. They didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like it because there was a war going on between Suge and some people in Long Beach. Not a big war. It's an industry war. You know what I mean? But sometimes it would spill over into the streets. And, him and Snoop weren't seeing eye to eye. And I knew Snoop, you know what I mean? Like, I was at Snoop House playing Nintendo 64, back in the day as, a real youngster and I was there when Snoop left Death Row and went to No Limit. You know what I mean? I was at his house talking to him about it, like, yo, how's the No Limit deal coming along? You know what I mean? As a kid. So we had a lot of history together, but when it came down to my music, I had to make a decision that was best for me. You know what I mean? And at the time, there was no other labels that were really talking good. They weren't talking what I needed them to talk. And I felt like I put in too much work. I felt like people knew me. I was buzzing. So I went and did the deal with Death Row. And a lot of people were mad about that. There was a lot of beef behind that in my own city. And I think that's why a lot of people respect me now, because I held my own, you know what I mean, through those times. You feel me? And it ended up being for the better, because 360, it came back around. And like you said, I interviewed Snoop and we got to really kick it and talk about the good old days, you know what I mean? And I got to let him know, I'm much more of a mature person now, and I understand when to be grateful and when to be thankful, you know what I'm saying? And he called me personally and apologized to me about some of the stuff that he brought to the table, you know what I'm saying, during those ugly times. So we just reconnected, man, and that's the homie, and I love him. And it's just, it's a great story, because after we reconnected and we became cool again, I ended up on Shady Aftermath. So, it's all about being yourself, and it's all about trying to learn, being open-minded, you know what I mean, and taking responsibility when you're wrong.
you talk about Shady Aftermath. Obviously, you had Eminem on Chris Cornell. I thought that was amazing. Like I mentioned to you at the top of the interview, it was a great interview. I consider M one of the greatest, obviously. So, to anytime I get an opportunity to see a solid interview on him, I watch it. But it was cool to see him give you your props and your respect as an artist. He was talking about how, it's hard. He was talking about the intro to the Slaughterhouse album, and he was praising your verse, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm really glad that he took that time on your platform to really show love. But let's talk about the group there for a second. Obviously, the last time I talked to you, which was last year, on the podcast, you were talking about how, it's been so many years and people still ask about Slaughterhouse. People still ask about the unreleased music. I'm going to kind of redirect the conversation to what's your relationship with the guys like now? Obviously, Royce has been on your platform, but with Joel and Joe, like, do you have any real formal relationship, or is it just like everybody's just gone their own way and doing what they do?
I talk to Royce every day. You know what I'm saying? Because during the Slaughterhouse separation, I was always in Detroit doing business, doing shows. I got people out there in Detroit, so I would always go say what up to Royce, you know what I mean, even though Slaughter wasn't making no music. And then I would sometimes just go down there just to make music with Royce, because I like his energy, you know what I'm saying? Like, his energy in the studio is the type of energy you want to be around as a creative. You know what I mean? If you are a creative in this game, I don't care if you do video directing, if you're a producer, if you're a podcaster or a rapper, Royce the 5'9" has the kind of energy you want to be around. You know what I mean? So sometimes I just be like, yo, Royce, I'm finna come out there, man. I need to re-up on my good energy, my creative energy, man. I'm gonna come out there and fuck with you. And then I just jump on the plane and do it. So me and Royce, we talk every day, man. You know what I'm saying? I talk to Joel probably like every 2 or 3 days. You know what I mean? Out the week, me and Joel build. I check in on him. How you doing? I was just recently in New York. I fucked with him for like a whole week and a half. I was like, yo, I'm coming to New York. You know what I mean? And I just went down there to fuck with Joel, you know, for like a week and a half before all this craziness, this coronavirus thing hit. Me and him was just laughing in the studio, you know what I mean? Talking about the good times and playing new music and just hanging out every day, going to eat and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So me and Joel, we got a great relationship. It's me and Joe who have our ups and downs, but they're petty ups and downs. It ain't nothing real serious. It's all love, you know what I mean? But he might say something on his platform that I disagree with, so I'll come out and disagree with it. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, his fans perceive it as we're about to make diss records for each other, which is not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it could get a little funny between me and Joe sometimes. But right now, I just hit him recently, like, yo, you know, let's chop it down. So when this shit is all over, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna go fuck with Joe. You know what I mean? Because I do got love for Joe. You know what I mean? I think a lot of things have been taken the wrong way, and I just want to reconnect with Joe. You know what I'm saying? Because when me and Joe connect creatively, we hit home runs. We hit home runs. You know what I mean? Because we kind of understand each other. You feel me? Musically, and think about like Sober Up and, you know, Devil in My Room and these joints. For the Slaughterhouse fans, they already know when me and Joe get out together, it's something special. So, you know, I like that vibe. I like that energy. And I just want to see how he is. It's been a while, man, since me and Joe connected. So I got plans on going out there and connecting with Joe and just chopping it up with him for a couple days, hanging out and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Seeing how, you know, where his head is at these days, you know, because I'm proud of him. You know, he took that platform to the top, number one. You know what I mean? And who knows, man? You know, you never know, man. Slaughterhouse, it might not be the last chapter for the house. It might not be. We'll see, though.
Well, you know, and I think collectively you guys were part of history. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys you guys have this great history that fans admire, right? Because fans still clamor for it. They still mention it. They still talk about it. Even after you publicly said, hey, you know, I'm not doing the group thing, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
they still ask you, you know? So it's like, I figured there was probably a difference between you and Joe, just clash of opinions, maybe just personality clash at the time, you know, just differences, you know, just difference of opinions. You know, he's very outspoken, you know, so.
Yeah. And I just, you know, and I don't listen, dog. If I'm not mentioned, I don't say shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you mention me, now I got to speak on it. You feel me? And that's all that was going on. It's like, oh, you know, Crook thought this, Crook thought that. And it's like, no, let Crook tell the world what Crook thought. And you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. You know, that's all it was. And then I just didn't like certain shit, you know, with the M thing, you know what I mean? Because I feel like Eminem did an amazing job as an executive at Shady when it came to Slaughterhouse. I feel like, you know, there were things that he could have done, but we can't point a finger at M and say, hey, you could have done more, if we're not willing to point a finger at ourselves and say we could have done more. You know what I'm saying? So my whole thing is don't alienate nobody. We all got some blame here. You know what I'm saying? But if we want to get down to the nitty gritty of it, I think that's where me and Joe kind of clash because, you know, I feel like I think he did the most stand-up thing that any music exec can do. When we came out with Welcome to Our House and the numbers wasn't exactly what we wanted to, it was the number one rap album on Billboard charts. Okay? It was number one. But put that to the side. The numbers didn't look how we kind of expected them to look. The response to the album wasn't what we really wanted the response to be from our core fans, you know what I'm saying? And what did M do? He did some real stand-up shit. He said, hey, go back in the lab. I'll open the budget up. It ain't about money. Y'all go in the lab, come again. And this time, since everybody's saying I had too much influence on this album, I'm not going to even come in the studio. You guys decide who you want to work with as producers. You guys decide everything just like before you even came to Shady. Put it together. I'll finance it. I'll open the budget up. Y'all go work. And we went and did Glass House. That was my only thing that was some stand-up shit because he could have said, hey, guys, it didn't work. Peace. You know what I'm saying? But instead of saying that, he said, hey, I'm taking some of the responsibility for this because a lot of the consensus was Eminem's sound and Slaughterhouse sound didn't really mesh together. You know what I'm saying? So he took responsibility and said, go and do whatever you guys see fit to do. Here's the check. I gotta respect that in this game.
Well, I also look at it from a different perspective, from a business perspective. Here you have a megastar in Eminem, right? He's a fucking megastar. He's a once-in-a-lifetime artist in terms of just reach, in terms of his success. And he lent his star power to this group. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to even do that. He didn't have to sign anybody. He was well off doing what he did. So for him to take the check to begin with, I think is stand up in itself. Now, does it require work? Absolutely. It's not like starting a label and running a label is easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially when you have some of the best rappers in the world, on your label, arguably the best rappers in the world on your label. So, of course, as artists, I can imagine someone like, and again, I don't know this to be true. I'm not speaking on behalf of Joe, but like, I can imagine like, I'm this fucking dope and I'm only seeing this much money or I'm only seeing this much results or whatever the case may be. But like you said, that's where you go back up and you swing again now. Whatever the business is or isn't, that's all in the past now. But it's good to hear that because I think that history there is what the fans remember. Whether or not, there was disagreements, like you said, whether or not there was disagreements with M, I think it's kind of like, in the grand scheme of everything, the history's already been written with the music. You know what I'm saying? And that's ultimately what matters. And that's what people are going to go back to. People are going to go back to those records or how it felt to see four of the best MCs in the game come together. That was an exciting time. That was an exciting time for me as a fan. I was a fan of every one of you guys. And to see the super group being formed, man, you think I gave a fuck about the business side of it?
That's my whole thing, dog. My thing was, let's put the fans first and give them the music, and we'll figure the business out afterwards because it's easy for us. It wasn't like, yo, we had to fucking go kill ourselves to make a fucking album. That shit is easy. We split the load up 4 different ways, you know what I mean? We give the fans what they want and deserve, and then we just go back and do whatever we do individually. That was my stance, you know what I mean? But like you said, it's in the past. I would really wish that Joe Budden, Eminem, and Paul Rosenberg could sit down one day and just talk like men, you know what I mean? And see if there's a way to get past all of the what's been said and all that type of shit, because at the end of the day, I still believe that everybody still got love for each other. And that doesn't mean Slaughterhouse being on Shady Records. That don't mean Slaughterhouse being off Shady. That don't mean Slaughterhouse making music again ever. It means somebody who, came into your life and tried to help you feed your kids. You got respect enough to go sit at the table with them and say, hey, man, can we work this out and leave and part on better terms? I wish, M, Paul, and Joe could just sit down and just chop it up. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. I've always been a peacemaker. Like if people came to the hood, came to Long Beach, and they was out of pocket and the homies was about to turn them upside down, I would be the one to go and get the OGs and say, hey, man, when I was young, go get the OG, say, hey, man, dude about to get turned upside down. They about to do him dirty, man. Can you go holler at the young homies, man, and get and give dude a pass and let dude get back home safe? And he would go back and do it. And I was always been a peacemaker, so I would always love to see Joe, M, and Paul sit down and try to just talk. They don't got to be the best friends in the world. They don't got to be friends. Just talk and come to an understanding as grown men. And keep it moving, man. That shit would be lovely. I think the culture would love that because you never know what could be birthed after that happens.
Exactly. Something I learned from Vince McMahon, out of all people in professional wrestling, is you never say never, and you do what's best for business, man. These guys can, to this day, they could still do big business together.
Yeah.
It may be in a different capacity now, but that could still happen. So you never want to close the door completely. And, I'm a firm believer there's no right or wrong in this world. I mean, there's your perspective and my perspective, and it's all based on how you interpret things, right? Because you might view a thing like that's a wrong situation, and I'm doing completely different. I have to respect your opinion as a man, but you have to be willing to hear my point of view as well before we come to that common ground. Because to your point, this whole entire coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever's been going on over the last few weeks, it's put a lot of things into perspective for me in terms of being able to articulate how I view things and how I see things, whether it be old petty beefs or just disagreements in the past. I'm like, look, man, for one, right now is not the time to hold that grudge. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's people that are legitimately, being affected by this, whether it's financially or on the actual health level. You know what I'm saying? Where they're not able to survive this. But I'm like, there's nothing that a conversation can resolve, and just a matter of coming to the table. So, I agree with you, and I'm a huge advocate of not only them guys potentially doing that, but anybody that may be watching this right now that is holding grudge, like, man, let it go, man. Like, life's too short to be.
Life is too short, bro. You know what I mean? Like, this virus is showing us that. I've always had that mentality. We never thought we would make it to 21 years of age. People have tried to take me off of this earth multiple times. You know what I'm saying? I've been to a lot of funerals as a young person. I've seen a lot of young people, fall victim. I understand that this is a vapor. Life is temporary as fuck. You know what I'm saying? So while you're here and while you have consciousness and while you understand you exist, why not try to bury the hatchet if nobody raped somebody in your family, disrespected your mother, disrespected your wife? Like, if they didn't violate you, you know what I mean? I think sitting at the table would be pretty dope to just talk to. And like you said, that goes for everybody out there, man. It's too short, man. And plus, you're renting out space to negative vibes in your mind, you know what I mean, and in your heart. You know what I mean? Let's keep everything positive and let's move forward, man. It would just be dope to see that particular conversation happen. And if I got anything to do with it, maybe it'll happen one day.
Absolutely, man. Well, hopefully it does, man. Speaking of life being too short, the last time I spoke to you on the podcast, we had talked about the passing of Nipsey this year. We had another catastrophic loss in the form of Kobe Bryant. Being on the West Coast, man, like, what are your thoughts on that, man? I mean, it's hard to, obviously with everything going on in the world, but I just want to speak on Kobe and his legacy and what he's meant to not only Los Angeles, but California as a whole and the West Coast and just the world,
I just want to keep that Black Mamba mentality, that Mamba mentality going. You know what I mean? He was a really focused individual. He showed you what discipline and hard work can bring, you know what I mean? And it still is. It's just a tragedy. That was my favorite basketball player, ever since he was coming off the bench for Eddie Jones. You feel me?
Eddie Jones was cold, bro. Eddie Jones was cold, man.
Eddie Jones was cold. My only critique for Eddie, he was amazing. My critique for him as a big Laker fan my whole life was when it was time to show up, he would pass the ball a lot. Like, he would not take big shots. And when we needed him to, he would try to find an open man, maybe to cause a turnover, anything but to take that big shot in certain games. And that used to make me so fucking mad as a fan, you know what I'm saying? And then here comes Kobe, Jelly Bean Bryant, you know what I'm saying? And he be up there just chunking shots up and missing. he was bricking like a motherfucker when he first started on the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? But I loved it because I said he's not afraid. He has no fear. And I knew that he would end up being one of the greatest. You know what I mean? And I just followed his career, man. And he's my favorite basketball player of all time. So it's really tough to see that happen with his daughter and to hear the stories about how his body was, curled up, holding his daughter, you know what I'm saying, in the wreckage, and to drive around Los Angeles and to see buses with "We love you, Kobe," restaurant signs, "We miss you, Kobe," and just all of the stuff, around the city that just memorializes him. It was sad, man. And, he meant a lot to the city. So we got to keep that Mamba mentality up, man. He helped people. He stayed focused. He led by example. I think we just got to do it as a city. We need to just keep that going.
How many Kobe Bryant bars do you have that you've produced over the course of the years? Man, I've heard a lot of them.
I got plenty of them. You know what I'm saying? I got plenty. Dude, I got Kobe Bryant jerseys. I got Kobe Bryant shoes. I got Kobe Bryant everything, bro.
Because I remember hearing that.
I got a lot of Kobe bars. You know what I'm saying?
Kobe bars. I remember one of the Kobe bars. I want to say it was on the Joe Budden album. You talked about some of the great songs that you did. I think it was on Skeletons in the Closet. Where you and Joel, there was a Black Mamba line in there. Yeah. So
I mean, dude, he had a label called Heads High Entertainment, and the label reps wanted to sign me. You know what I'm saying? To his label, they sent me some joints that he did. I got some old Kobe joints of him rapping in my email right now. You know what I'm saying? From those days, but yeah, it was huge, man, and it's a huge loss. 2020 has been that way for me. You know what I mean? Like, I lost my father, a couple months. What's this? March? Shit.
We're in April.
We're in April, so yeah, in March. You know what I'm saying? So, and then my kids, they lost their grandmother on their mother's side, so they lost two grandparents in a week. You know what I'm saying? In a matter of a week, did two funerals out of town. You know what I mean? And then came back to the crib, and boom, coronavirus hit. You feel me? So it's been a real rocky year as far as that goes. But I'm just feeling real motivated right now to make everybody who passed away proud and to inspire people while I'm still here on Earth.
Well, our condolences, and it's admirable to see you push through. I wasn't aware of your father passing, so to see you continue to produce content at a high level, it just goes to show how much hip hop means to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
Therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? It's really, and I talked about this.
Yeah.
I was with Royce on Sunday night. We were talking on here, and I had a conversation with him, and we had I told him, hey, I wanted to end talking about mental health, and I explained to him how there was a specific situation where when he came out here, he brought me on stage, and he had no idea, but that was probably one of the darkest times of my life. Right? And he pulls me on stage, he puts his arm around me, and he shouts me out in front of the audience, which I wasn't expecting. And
right.
I told him, I was like, so, he's the one that said, check on your strong friends.
Yeah.
I found myself going through that battle, and what I realized about myself was where I find fulfillment is being productive. Having this conversation with you right now, having the conversation with him, that drives me. I'm being productive in some capacity, creating music or being a good parent or producing an event. Those are all forms of being productive. It doesn't all come in just one form. So to see you continue to be productive, that's really dope, man, because I think that's going to be something that's going to help you not only through the grieving process, because it's never going to get easy. You're never going to forget about those memories, but you're going to just be able to continue to be a contributor not only to the culture, but to the world in your own form. You know what I'm saying? My mom used to always tell me this. My mom passed away in 2009. She was always like, I want to be a missionary whenever I grow up. She was like, when I get older, I want to be a missionary. And this is her in her late 40s, going into her 50s. She said, I want to be a missionary when I get older. And I adopted the mentality, and I told her this, like, I feel that we're all missionaries in our own way in this world. We just have to fulfill our missions.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So,
that's real.
So
speaking of which, dog, I want to invite all your viewers, any of them, if they're in recovery mode, or struggling with addiction to drugs and alcohol, to join me on Saturdays for my Sober House Saturday on my IG Live. You know what I'm saying? We have virtual meetings and we just talk about our addiction and what we're doing to stay sober right now during this time, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people are locked in the house. And if you're locked in the house and you're a recovering alcoholic and there's big bottles everywhere, you might just decide to relapse. You feel me? So we kind of keep each other strong. You know what I mean? I've been sober for 4 years. So, if you got any viewers, to all the viewers out there right now that might be, in recovery mode, keeping your sobriety strong, come to my live, 2 p.m., Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m., Saturdays. It's called Sober House Saturdays. Join me, please. Let's talk about it.
That's dope, man. Well, before we start wrapping up here, man, I wanted to ask you a few more questions about you as an artist, man, and COB and where everything stands with you, with the Horseshoe Gang. Obviously, you're still producing music. We talked about this the last time. I'm gonna reiterate it again. You are the founder, the originator of the weekly series. A lot of people have, duplicated it. A lot of people imitated it, but none like the originator. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
Are you still planning to continue to produce more music, put out a new project, or just I'm not really sure where you stand.
Yeah, man. I'm building a studio right now in the crib. So once that's done, and I learned how to record myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be putting out music. I got a lot of stuff on the table already. There's a cryptocurrency company called Mithril Ore. You know what I'm saying? Mithril Ore. And we're going to do a brand collab EP. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to doing that. I got my homie Spoke Will out there. He got a bunch of beats he sent over to me. Me and him are going to be making some music together. I'm definitely doing some things. So as soon as I get this lab put together the way I want it, and I feel like I'm pretty decent with cutting my own vocals and record my own vocals, you know what I'm saying? I'm giving the world some more music. Family Business with the Horseshoe Gang. Like I said, we got an album that's done. Royce produced 99% of it. M gave us one joint.
You mentioned that. Yeah, you mentioned that.
You know what I'm saying? But we just sitting on it, man, because, I'm tired of these labels trying to play us, you know what I'm saying? And, I don't feel like they know they value us enough for me to give them this project. So I'm just waiting until we build a big enough platform to where I feel like the project won't go under the radar, because it's an incredible project. It's timeless music, so it ain't like I got to put it out tomorrow. It's timeless, and it's a concept album, and the shit is dope from start to finish. And so they got that cracking. Horseshoe about to put out a remix project. In a couple weeks, they got a mixtape that they're going to put out. We're going to do a podcast called Crook's Backyard with Family Business. So I'm going to have the whole Horseshoe Gang over at the crib, in the backyard. And we're going to do our podcast shit and just talk shit, basically. It's going to be way different than Crook's Corner. Crook's Corner is reserved to talk hip-hop, get in deep, dig deep about art of lyricism, production, those types of things. The podcast is, 5 brothers talking shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a whole nother, level. So, they're going to stay busy. I'm staying busy, and, we just adjusting, man. Omaha, what's my guy, man? I keep saying that. My dude, Peyton Manning, when he get under the center, you know what I'm saying? And he call that audible. Well, the coronavirus got us calling audibles. I had bending corners beautifully set up. I would go to the venues and interview people, and coronavirus said, you ain't doing that no more. So I said, all right, I respect it. So we just, we calling audibles and adjusting and just continuing to spread good vibes, enjoy life, and represent this hip-hop culture to the fullest, man. That's it, man.
Well, man, I'm going to show you some dope shit here as soon as we get off. One thing that I want to put in the air, obviously right now we have time with the coronavirus going on, and we don't know how long the stay-at-home order is going to last.
Right.
So I want to put this out in the universe. I would like for you to bring your one-shot situation to a virtual platform.
Yes, sir.
We can give a winner a crack at a verse with you or something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
something
man. Just give them back.
we got to find a way to like create some excitement within the virtual realm to encourage people not only to stay home so we could beat this virus, but
yeah, one shot virtual. You know, we about to come and get them, man. We gonna get a winner a bag, and you know, rhythm and flow. You know, they tried to bite my idea. I'm not mad. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't give anybody no remote control to my emotions. You know what I'm saying? Everything is all good. I'm happy. I'm in a great space, but they did jack one shot from me. You know what I'm saying?
It was complete.
Yeah, they stole the whole shit, and you know, I know exactly who's responsible for it. You know, this is not a claim that I'm making because I saw something and I feel like it's similar. It's because I sat with the people, some of the people that, you know, are involved with rhythm and flow before there was a rhythm and flow. You feel me? So I'm not making a false claim here. I know what I'm talking about. They stole my show. But here's the thing, though. We going to come back and say, all right, still the show, one shot virtual. You know what I mean? Let's see what y'all do with that. Your move, rhythm and flow.
They're gonna have to wait. They're gonna have to wait till all this passes. By the time it passes, you're already on the next wave, man. But look,
you're already at the next one, and we gonna give out a bag too. You know what I'm saying? Because people can use it right now, so we gonna give out a bag.
So it has to happen soon. You know, for years people have bitten your bars. Now they're buying your show ideas. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying, dog? Everything. But that happens a lot. Let me just say that real quick, Vega. To all you artists out there on the independent level, and you might not feel like you're as big as these guys behind me on these posters, understand that I feel your pain when people bite your shit, because that happens a lot. A lot of these guys in the mainstream on the top of the charts, they steal ideas from the underground and they take them to the mainstream, you know what I mean? And a lot of unsung heroes don't get their credit for coming up with certain ideas and creating certain stuff. I feel your pain, I'm with you, and I know it goes down, you know what I mean? So don't worry, one day you'll get your shine, just keep working and you'll get yours, you know what I mean? All your dreams will come to fruition, just don't stop.
So the name of the show is Nothing Beats Experience. I want to end it with this. I want to end it with Jewelry Time with Crook. So this is what I want to end it with. I want to end it with the importance of relationships. Can you please touch on the importance of relationships, not just musically, but on a personal level, whether that be with your significant other, whether it be with your peers, whether it be in a business situation. What is the importance of relationships, and what is a piece of advice, a piece of jewelry that you would give to the public out there?
Man, nobody can really do anything great alone. It takes help. You know what I'm saying? It takes relationships. It takes, you know, if you want to become great or do something great or leave your mark on the world, you got to find some great people, man, and you got to develop a relationship with them, and you got to understand that you're not going to be able to do certain things all by yourself. That's one level of it. Another level of it is just the networking aspect. You know, they say that 100%, if you break your work down into, 100%, they say 50% of it should be networking. And I want a lot of young artists to understand that part. If you're doing anything in the music business, 50% of what you're doing should be networking. That's what every single expert on the subject says. So that's building relationships. And how do you network with somebody? It's not, hey, listen to my music, and if they don't get back to you in 2 weeks, send them a DM, oh, fuck you. That's not how you build a relationship. Find out if there's something that you can offer them before you ask them for anything. Find out if you can help them in any kind of way before you even ask them for help or ask them for anything. Build a relationship with these people or whoever, and just don't burn bridges. That's the reason why I was able to go from Death Row to a Shady Aftermath, is because my relationships were solid. You feel me? I didn't go to Death Row and say, hey man, fuck Dr. Dre, fuck Eminem, fuck Shady. I never did that because that wasn't my problem or my beef. You know what I mean? I stay who I am. So one night I'm going to tell you a quick story. One night I was on the radio station out here in LA, and it was during the beef between Ja Rule and 50 Cent. And Ja had started getting on M. So he dropped a joint where he said something about M's daughter in the joint, right? And I was on death row at the time, up at the station with Ja, Herb, and Suge. And the radio host said, "Hey, Crook, are you gonna jump in this battle?" And I said, "You know what? I love these guys. We create great music together. I love the opportunities that they've given me, but I'm not a toy soldier. I'm not a wind up robot. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Suge brought me over here to this label to just wind me up and point me in any direction, to just go dissing everybody that I don't even have no personal relationship or beef with." And I said, I say that with the utmost respect for the people that I'm around. So what I did that night is I preserved my relationship with Death Row and Murder Inc. I told the truth about where I stood, and little did I know Dr. Dre was listening to the whole shit on the radio. So later on, Dre gave me a call after I left Death Row, and he said, "Hey, man, I heard what you said. Me and M were in the lab together. We heard what you said. We love the fact that you didn't just take that as an opportunity to diss us." You know what I mean? I had a relationship with Dre. You know, it wasn't a deep one, but I had a relationship with Dre before I went to Death Row. So I kept all my relationships good. And I was able to make a smooth transition from Death Row to Shady. And right at this moment, right now, I'm good with Suge. I'm good with Suge. I could say it publicly. It's not going to cause a rift with my relationship with Dre. It ain't going to cause a rift with my relationship with Paul Rosenberg or Eminem. I keep all my relationships good, and it has served me very well. So I would definitely give that piece of jewelry to you. And if you're in a relationship, communication runs the nation. Keep that communication right. Learn how to communicate. And this goes for business too. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. Learn how to communicate with everybody, whether that's your woman, your business partner, your homie, your mom, your family, whoever. Try your best to be a better communicator, and that will preserve the relationship. Trust me.
Well, there you have it, man. That was Jewelry Time with Crook, man. You know what? I've known you for 14 years, so we talk about relationships. That just goes to show how much I've been able to maintain one with you.
Yes, sir, man. That's because your name is Smooth Vega around this bitch. You feel me?
With Royce, with everybody, man. I can't believe I've known you guys for as long as I've known you guys.
Right.
You were my first interview. I would have loved to have you in studio, but obviously plans had, Destiny had different plans for us.
Right.
Hey, man, you know what? I've gotten better at this, and I attribute it to just watching you guys, watching yourself, watching Joe, just learning the craft of interviewing. And like I said, man, it's all off the dome, man, because I want to make sure that everything's natural. So
yeah, off the dome, man. You just killed that. You know what I'm saying?
we rocking. But hey, Crook, we're wrapping up here. I want to keep you online, off the record here in just 1 second. But this was the Beats Experience. King Crook, man. Y'all make sure to subscribe to his channel, Crook's Corner. One Shot Virtual coming sooner than later. We're about to talk about that off the record.
Yes, sir.
Salute, man.
Salute.